Whether it's because they abuse their power or simply out of pure stupidity, some teachers should be sent back to school. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 worst mistakes made by teachers.
Tonight, a teacher is behind bars for allegedly doing things to children that most people can't even imagine.
Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at serious lapses in judgment on the part of educators. We're ranking our list based on the severity of the mistakes and the magnitude of the consequences. However, we will not be including any teachers who decided to sleep with their students. That's a whole other level of mistake.
Students say their teacher brought in a dog cone just like this and put it around the necks of at least 8 kids.
Number 10. Would you like fries with that?
Now, if anyone here thinks I'm superficial or materialistic, go get a job at f***ing McDonald's, because that's where you f***ing belong.
There's nothing wrong with a teacher guiding troubled students with their career choices, but have a little tact while doing it. Well, the teacher or teachers in this scenario definitely did not have tact. They just stapled a McDonald's job application to their students' failed tests or assignments and called it a day.
So how are you finding everything?
It's good.
It's good?
Really interesting. I love the machines.
Yeah, they were cool, eh?
Yeah.
There are actually multiple versions of this story online, so we have to assume it's a common practice for fed-up profs to encourage failing students towards the food service industry, something that's more than a little insulting to fast food employees. However, if it encouraged even one student to try harder, hey, maybe it's not all bad.
Dear Sebastian, after careful consideration of your application, it is with great pleasure that we offer our congratulations on your acceptance.
Number 9. The sweet smell of racism.
I know I smell Sam.
What are you talking about?
I may be smelly, but I'm not stupid.
Well, this just stinks. There are certainly enough bullies in school to go around. We don't need the teachers getting in on the act, too. At an elementary school in Swansea, Wales, school teacher Elizabeth Davies was in charge of a group that included a large number of Bangladeshi students. Claiming the kids constantly smelled of curry, Ms. Davies made a habit of spraying them with air freshener. Her teaching assistant said she suspected Ms. Davies was guilty of racism and would often smugly say that, quote, there was a waft coming in from paradise. As a result, she was summarily sacked.
I am very ugly, but you should enjoy the movie anyway.
Number 8. Our lips are sealed. Silence is golden, but this is ridiculous. One exasperated Florida teacher took this to the extreme, however, when she taped a disruptive student's mouth shut. And when the poor girl had to remove the tape to cough, the teacher didn't miss a beat. She simply put the tape back and muttered, quote, what happens in my classroom stays in my classroom. Or in this case, on the local news.
He didn't tape all of this part right here. He just taped his whole head.
Unfortunately, this isn't even the only teacher taping a student's mouth shut story circulating online. But let's be clear, this will only result in a sticky situation for the offending educators.
Shame I have to close that pretty mouth of yours.
Number 7. Dirty dancing. This student from Stovall Middle School in Houston, Texas will likely remember his 15th birthday forever. That's when his 42-year-old teacher decided it would be a good idea to give him a 4-minute full contact lap dance in front of the entire class. And by all accounts, it was a pretty daring dance. There was grinding, ass slaps. She even got on her knees and put her head between his legs. But the cherry on the sundae, she capped off the whole performance with the words, quote, I love you, baby. Happy birthday. Miss Felicia Smith was subsequently arrested for an improper relationship with a student and was sentenced to 3 years probation. Number 6. I'm rubber, you're glue.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
Exasperated that one of her students would not focus on his work and kept calling her rude names, art teacher Linda May reached the end of her rope.
We'll be the only ones to argue without dates. Oh.
According to the court transcripts, yes, this went all the way to court, the student banged a glue stick loudly on a desk. To give the student a taste of his own medicine, Miss May took the glue stick and did the same thing right back, except she accidentally hit him in the hand, drawing blood. She was ultimately acquitted of the assault charges, but even so, we assume she still wishes she had glued him to his chair in detention instead. Number 5. Risqué Writing.
She threw caution to the wind and reached out and grabbed his...
Whoa! Whoa! This is a dirty book!
We get it. Getting a kid to read is like pulling teeth. Well, a UK teacher known to her students as Miss Rusty solved that little problem. To encourage her troubled class to develop an interest in literacy, she wrote an erotic novel. Well, actually, it was worse than that. The characters were modeled after her and her students, and they also engaged in drug use and criminal activity. Ultimately released online, the novel, entitled Stop, Don't Read This, caused a big kerfuffle, leading to the termination of Miss Rusty's employment. But she did get her 15 minutes of fame. Number 4. Trapped in the closet. What's an appropriate punishment for children at school? Time out? Detention? Lock them in a closet? No. Definitely not that last one.
Get outside, you festering ball of pus!
Well, one teacher at a Manchester, England school thought that was a good idea. Unfortunately, one of the students she kept in the storage cupboard was an 11-year-old with dyspraxia, a developmental coordination disorder that can affect motor skills, speech, and more, making learning difficult. The teacher decided he wasn't writing fast enough, so she sent him off to the closet. In fact, the poor boy told his mother that he'd been locked in the closet alone for at least an hour at a time before. Number 3. Sex ed. Up close and personal.
The penis is now, as you will observe, more or less fully erect.
To celebrate the arrival of summer and to commemorate their time in the 5th grade, California elementary school teacher Crystal DeFanti put together a DVD, compiling the best moments of the school year. Unfortunately, she sent them home with both a memento and a crash course in sex ed. Yes, she accidentally included one of her own very personal videos on the DVD. When families innocently sat down and selected one of the options on the menu screen, they were taken to a shot of Miss DeFanti naked and pleasuring herself on a couch. We're sure it was an honest, albeit really stupid mistake, but it still prompted plenty of birds and bees talks.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Number 2. A tone-deaf punishment. One of the great things about technology is that it can allow some students to overcome disabilities. For example, hearing aids let deaf students hear just like their fellow students. However, in a Reddit thread that answered the question, "Who was the worst teacher you've ever had?" one deaf student recounted the story of how his sadistic teacher used his hearing aids against him. In order to punish the child in question, Miss Barron would frequently remove his 2 hearing aids to isolate him from the others. She would then force him to go sit in the hallway by himself. Before revealing our top pick, here are some honorable, or in this case, dishonorable mentions.
And that's how I found out there was no Santa Claus.
All right, what are we having?
Number 1. A secret sauce we could do without. This story is not for the faint of heart. Mark Burnt, an elementary school teacher in Los Angeles for more than 30 years, frequently organized food tastings in his classroom. He would blindfold the children and make them eat cookies he'd prepared. What those unsuspecting students did not know, however, was that those cookies had a secret ingredient: Mr. Burnt's sperm. Burnt was caught by police in 2012 after he tried to develop pictures of these infamous food tastings, and the photo technician thought pictures of blindfolded 3rd graders were a bit strange. The teacher was then sentenced to 25 years in prison, and the students he victimized were awarded a $140 million settlement.
You always often kept his hands under the desk, and yes, I do remember the vessel.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.